So before I start, let me do this. I'll quickly introduce myself. My name is Chetna. I work as a product manager, and I work with this company called Koros, which is there in Austin for quite a while. Before some time, before a couple of years, we used to be there as a company called Spreadfast, and then we merged, and then I work in Koros now. I'm so glad to be here, and thanks to Product Camp Austin for giving me this opportunity, and the lovely sponsors, which who we know about from the screen right here. I'll go ahead and begin. So a note on universal design. Universal design is the design of any product or any environment so that it may be accessed, understood, and used to the greatest possible extent by the greatest set of people, regardless of physical characteristics like age or size or having any particular health or ability and so on. I believe in my job as a product manager that universal design is known to make products more functional and more aesthetic. And in some ways, it is breaking boundaries, but in most of the ways, it is about seeing no boundaries. My whole my topic of presentation today is around universal design. As a PM, as a product manager, I am an advocate of universal design, and in my capacity, I always try and treat it as a critical or a must do or a P1. I'm not sure. I mean, you guys are designers or from product or from technology. However, you might be, design is something which is important to all of us. So as I go through this time here, and I have roughly 15 to 20 minutes, please feel free to put in a question or comment at any point. Uh, Today, I am presenting uh, um, a problem that is close to my heart and that I want to solve. And I will spend time on speaking about the problem, my vision around the problem, and I will also delve into some guiding principles, so to speak, about which define my solution as I go ahead in exploring one. I welcome all feedback and partnership as well. All right, here goes. So here I begin. In front of you, there's this picture. This picture is of a apartment building, an entrance to an apartment building rather. And it has, if you would see, there are around 4 steps, and there is a landing, and then there is the apartment door. And very thoughtfully, just besides the set of stairs, there is a set of ramp, which is used to roll up any device, any vehicle which you might be either carrying or which you might be using to traverse your way. However, I mean, this is a picture of an apartment building which I know about, and I cross every day, almost every day. And so the top landing is around, say, 1.5 times the width of an average step. What that means is that when once you go up the flight of stairs, these 4 stairs, you have a small place where you can stand while you go ahead and open the door. An added fact, that door opens outwards. So once you actually go up, you have to turn a bit, make way for the door because it opens, and then enter the building. Now imagine somebody who's on a wheelchair and who's going around, and she goes ahead and climbs on top of it, right? And then she opens the door. Where would she stand? Worse, if she has to open the door on the right, she has to actually go up, turn a bit to the left, and then open the door. Uh, another fact, I have never seen anybody actually use the ramp for that purpose. Only once have I seen this man who had a baby in a pram, and he also had a bag on his left arm, a bag full of stuff, which looked very heavy. And of course, there was a crying baby in the pram, and he was trying to go up, and he did manage to go up. I would say he did. I'm sure he managed to enter the door as well. But my fists were clenched at all times. It didn't look pleasant. Uh, while this is a situation, I'll move closer to our situation right here. Right, we are all living in times of extended work from home. And I'm totally loving the work from home part. However, working remotely comes with its own set of challenges for all of us. In my case, I got a bad case of back, neck, shoulder pain since last couple of months. It's my worst bout so far, and it's like every time I engage with a digital device, whether it be a cell phone or a Kindle or even a laptop to read or type or even to take a look, my whole body spasms, and it is extremely painful. Like I said, it's the worst in my life. And since it has been happening, I have been more and more mindful of the time spent on these devices. And one big category of the time that I spent on these devices is reading. I'm fond of reading daily digital articles, Washington Post, Medium.com, NY Times, Huffington Post, and so on. So it's like my procrastination tool. I mean, hi to all procrastinators out there, but you know how it goes. Every time you need to pass some minutes by the clock, you go ahead and start, in my case, reading anything and everything that comes my way. But in times of pain, when I can't even hold the mobile phone at an angle or distance akin to reading, guess what still worked for me? So if you're ever reading a newsletter or a blog post on your phone, there is a function called voiceover. At least on iPhones, there is voiceover. On Android phones, there are other screen readers which you can use. And it reads out the blog post to you. So in times of pain, that really worked, and I was like, wow, this makes my life easy. Now here is a product which is an actual need. But guess what? Again, my online reading has dropped to say 1/10 of its original in the last several months. I have to let go of paid subscriptions. And why is that really? That is because even if I try using my screen reader, uh, and try reading, say, an email newsletter, I understand nothing, like nothing at all. Why is that? Because if you would have ever tried this, all online readers read content in a way that makes no distinction between, say, the title, the subtitle, the highlighted text, the quoted text, the paragraphs. I don't understand what they say. I hear a stream of words for sure, right? Like this, because the screen reader reads. I hear a stream of words, but it is at a pace that is punctuated, but the pauses and the diction is misplaced, making it even more difficult to enjoy something like reading online. Uh, so it's something like this: the bold matter, right? The italics, the paragraph, and the tone changes. It makes little to no difference to the screen reader, who goes on reading in a very unaffected and a dispassionate type of voice. And there is more, right? So when I say that, because coming from somebody, and I think majority of us do a lot of reading online, before diving into any piece of written content, whether it be an email or a blog post or news post, it is really good to get a basic sense of the length of the post, and of the idea of the post, what's the abstract, and because keeping in mind, right, the huge amount of content out there, these bits are valuable. I don't get any of these in a voiceover. uh, for example, let's take this article, right? It has a very nice topic. uh, when will concerts return, experts weigh in, like that's the title. There's a subtitle that I see right there which talks about health experts sharing their predictions uh, for the um for the future of live music in the age of the COVID-19 pandemic. There is the name of the author, there is the date, there's the time, there's a picture, and which is also engaging, and then there's the body of the blog. So even before we get into the basics or get into the specifics of that blog piece, I know whether I want to read it or not, whether it's interesting or not. But I read the news. I use the voice reader, remember? And what is visible to my mind is this: when will concerts return? Experts weigh in. Health experts share their predictions for the future of live music in the age of COVID-19 pandemic by Caroline Bologna, 10/08/2020, 6:55 p.m. EDT during the COVID-19 pandemic, and so on. It does take all the fun out of reading online, doesn't it? Uh, and so the same is what I felt. I felt helpless. Reading, consuming written content has a visual element to it. The writer paints a picture using words into the reader's mind. Without cues that give the user a context, the user feels lost. Uh, when we are reading any piece of article out there, what we form in our mind is almost like a visual mapping. If if we are not told where in the article are we while reading, we completely feel lost, and it takes away the charm. Um, a lot of times we do not want to read the complete article, and we want to skim the article, right? We want to skim the post. Unfortunately, using a voice reader, when I want to skim through a piece of content, I don't know how to really skim through it in a meaningful manner. I click on next, of course, and if I click on next, and the voice reader is reading the article, it does go on to the next subheading. But I don't know if I'm midway in the post, or I'm in the second bullet out of the 10 bullets, if I have already read the crux of it, or the main point is somewhere on the top or on the bottom. Hence, it takes away all my fun. And thinking of it from the author perspective, an author posts out a heart in a piece of article or an email or a blog post, like she's speaking to you. And the purpose shouldn't be lost in a screen reader application. If this problem is solved, like all the problems that I just described about reading, it will find takers in the form of increased readers who are on their way to work, who want to catch up on the written word, or stay at home people who want to listen in on the news while they go about their routines, and anyone else who prefers reading, who prefers listening to reading. Hence, the crux of my pitch lies in the point that screen reader application need to move from reading to narrating. Human capacity is and capability both are not a constant. What we do today with ease, we will struggle with tomorrow. My parents struggle all the time with the small fonts of mobile phone apps that they want to use, and I'm sure we all know somebody or the other who has problems around spending too much time online reading or otherwise using the tools and softwares and so on. This way, the solution that I'm looking for, or the vision that I'm looking for, reading would be something which will be accessible to everybody, and in a way that it doesn't take away the whole fun of reading. Like I said, I am exploring what is already out there into the market, as well as what can be the possible solutions. And in building a solution like this, these are my guiding principles. One, the solution is to be designed with nuance and smart technology. What I mean there mean to say is that all the written content out there, it has various tones and intonations, and it is only through smart technology, at least that's what I feel right now, is uh, we will be able to have a reader which reads in the tone that the author intended it to be in. The pauses and the diction and the stress on specific words would be there, can be built in with smart technology. Number two, solution has to be free and it has to be widely available, so that it caters to each and every one of us whenever we want it. Number three, it should be usable on laptops and mobiles and without any complex setups required from the end user, which goes in line with the very essence of universal design, which means that anything, any product, if it is universally designed, should be able to be extended to the maximum number of users in the maximum number of situations and without the use of complex assistive technology around it. And finally, of course, the solution has to be universal. So this is in line with what I'm thinking on solving this problem, which is taking reading to narrating. Today, screen readers and voiceover applications solve for only a bit more than a tick mark against accessibility guidelines, but they don't go the way and they leave out so much more. We should do better. And therein lies my pitch. I had this much to present today. Currently, I'm exploring a couple of solutions around the CSS rules for voice and so on. but feedback welcome and comments welcome. I can be reached at this handle on Twitter and Medium, and otherwise the write-up is written at this link. You would be able to find it in Google, and hopefully I would follow this up with more solutions, uh, and I'm looking for, like I said, feedback and what are your views on it. I'm keen to understand. That's it from me, guys.
Okay, thank you. So are there any questions from the audience? What is your background with learning about and knowing about accessibility? Do you have a big, like, did you go to a program for it, attend any classes or workshops on it? Is this just stuff you've totally kind of gotten over the years, or?
Sure. So I do not have any academic knowledge on accessibility. However, in my past tense, I have managed accessibility for more than a couple of products. While my stint in Intuit, I led accessibility about QuickBooks, and even in Chorus, we try and focus on that aspect wherever we can, and for however much investment. This idea specifically is, like I said, is something close to my heart and something that I like to work on the side. And I believe it's a problem which is looking for a solution. As I go ahead and work more on it, I would know more.
Thank you. Other questions
Okay.
from people? Feel free to just speak as well. You can unmute your mic.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I don't see anything in the channel, in the Slack channel. Oh, okay.
Sure.
One question from David. What are your thoughts on additional tools for access, voice navigation, etc.?
Additional tools for access, you said?
For yeah, things like voice navigation or other things that are.
Those that may not have use of their hands or are not able to navigate a traditional keyboard and mouse setup.
Absolutely. So thanks for the question, David. Like, for sure, that's something which is in the scope of web accessibility, and for sure, that's something that's thought about while we build the products in general. For this specific thing, I do think that for a complete solution, and like I had mentioned in my previous slide, a complete solution needs to be universal, and it should be usable on all platforms, and majority, if not all, people with use. So for sure, I think that's something that should be in scope of a solution, which helps in easy reading, or which helps a person in getting the story the way an author has written it online. So for sure, David, I think I will take it down, and that should be there in any solution like this, that that should be built around this area. So thanks for that feedback.
Thank you.
To add to that, in some cases, people that don't have full use of their extremities, they can use sip and puff machines, which they can do basically simplified, like a straw type unit where you can blow air through or suck air up to have different keyboard abilities. But maybe could you speak about maybe like how WCAG comes into things, or is that not really an area for you?
No, I mean, for sure, that's I cannot, like if you're talking about accessibility, WCAG is something that's out there, and it has guidelines, and it gives companies and products directions to work on in a meaningful manner. So that's definitely it. That's definitely something that I am keeping my eye out for. And in general, actually, I'm also right now in the process of analyzing the solutions which are already out there. And so, for example, There are readers which read the complete screen, but there are also readers which read specific segments of a post. So I'm also exploring them, and maybe they do solve partways the whole problem. The only thing which I would like to say is that because I'm trying to solve a problem which is about reading online specifically, so I'm trying to be cognizant more and more about the reading problems online, and not so much as the generic software applications, which might be, I don't know, e-commerce applications or booking a ticket online. They might need more and more advanced solutions, or maybe different solutions. In case of reading, if for my version 1 of the product, if I can build something of the sort that takes, say, either a voice command, or like you said, like you just suggested, Christina, around something augmenting the motor capabilities. If it takes a command like that, and if it is able to read out a segment online in a very narrative voice, and is able to give the essence of what a writer has written, that should be something that will be a version 1 for me. And I would just like to solve for the reading problem as part of this initiative.
Thank you. All right. Jen says, seems like a lot of content you came across is not coded to be read by screen readers. Yeah, we kind of talked about that. They should be able to recognize headings, subheadings. That being said, I totally agree with you. Completely lost the nuance in mind applies. I have some thoughts. Did you want to share your thoughts, Jennifer? Feel free to put your mic on if you'd like to.
I was thinking, I kind of wanted to talk to Chetna directly, but I was wondering if things like Siri or
Sure, Jennifer,
or something like can be, extended to start working with something like this. Because somehow, that's coded and developed to have
yes.
So language, but so I don't know, but it's a possibility. So love to connect with you about it.
That's amazing, and that's bang on, like what I'm seeing. So in my past, what I have already done in products is the way you said that Siri or voiceover or any kind of reader is able to differentiate between titles and subtitles, and even bullet points in some regards. So it needs to be coded in HTML correctly, and then it is usually able to read it. While that is right, what it doesn't do, and as you rightly pointed out in the chat window, that it doesn't detect tone or emphasis, or one of the points, one of my granular problem statements that I'm trying to solve is, so suppose there's an article, right? Today, what happens is it reads it in a way that it reads any web page. It says title, so and so. I mean, it doesn't say title, but so and so is the title, and then jumps to subtitle. It reads a dialogue in the same way it reads the basic content. So, and if I wanted to skip, and if I wanted to say that, okay, read me mid sentence, or take me to the end of the paragraph, that is not very easily navigatable. So for the emphasis points, what I'm exploring, and which I think is too easy in solution, is maybe just because HTML is something which is editable at the user end, or by somebody who's writing the code. Maybe we can have more tags which give emphasis to a voice reader, which a voice reader can pick and talk about. I hope I'm making sense there, but what I'm saying is that in HTML itself, we can build in pauses, and we can build in expressive constructs which give more value to the voice reader as the voice reader picks up the commands. That's one thing for sure that I'm looking at. Then there is more, there is some research on the CSS rules for voice. I need to be exploring that. That's further on my to-do list as well. So those two things I'm investigating, but I'll be happy to talk later or offline with you for sure. Happy to connect. Thank you.
So in that respect for HTML, could you reach out to W3 schools or something like the W3C and
Sure, I could do that, but
ask
I
them
mean,
about
that's
creating those
some,
kinds of tags? Or
yeah, I think so. I think so that can be done. Although I'm not an expert in HTML, but I have reason to believe that can be done. Right now, I'm exploring at my end to see what it takes to solve something like this. The only problem with accessibility is that even though it will be a small thing that needs to be done on the HTML end, how to get it done at scale is a thing that I also want to solve for. And uh, maybe just maybe I mean I'm open to think about more possibilities, but one possibility is also that assuming there's a new HTML tag added like that, if voice reader can read it, or if I can build something which is like a plugin which with which voice reader can read it, then maybe we can make that plugin freely available, and that can be used to read these tags as well. But for sure, whatever something in that regard would be like an MVP or a version 1 to find out if this is something that people will adopt to make content more and more readable. That will be just an MVP, but we have some way to go to know of a solution which will scale and scale universally for everybody.